Permaculture principle number 2, catch and store energy. Catch and store energy, much like this battery. We're not dealing with electrical energy today though. We're catching and storing water. I'm up here in the bull pasture today at the first pond I dug. This didn't start out as a pond. At first this was just a gravel mine. There's gravel bars in this arroyo, and we use that gravel all around the ranch for roads and other projects. So a few years back, while I was mining this gravel bar, I stumbled across a video by Andrew Millison, Permaculture video. In this YouTube video I watched, Andrew described the 12 principles of permaculture. These permaculture principles were developed by Bill Mollison and simplified into 12 principles by David Holmgren. This is described in Andrew's video, which I'm going to link in my description. I plan on making a video for each one of these 12 permaculture design principles. A working man's approach, permaculture principles in action. Thanks to Bill Mollison and David Holmgren for the design principles. And if you haven't seen Andrew Millison's illustrated permaculture videos, check them out. They're really something to see. That's where I started digging gravel a few years back. It was a big gravel bar, but once I got to the end, when there wasn't much gravel left, I pushed the rest up into a check dam. The idea here is to slow down big flows of water in the arroyo, catch it, soak it into the ground, and store it like a battery, a water battery. So after this first pond, moving downstream, I'm going to have a series of ponds, a series of catch ponds, much like stair steps to catch and slow the water. Hopefully we get a few good rains this spring and summer that charge these ponds up. It's early spring in southeast Colorado, and I want to get some of this work done before we get any big rains this summer, the monsoon season. Let's walk downstream and check out the series of ponds, the stair step ponds. About 100 yards downstream from that first pond, there's a really nice gravel bar. I'll probably dig this one out in the coming years. This is all really nice, deep gravel, probably about 4, 5, 6 feet deep. I can mine that out and turn it into a pond. Here's the second catch pond. I mined this gravel bar out last summer. All this good limestone gravel was used to fix ranch roads last fall. If you're interested in watching that video, it's in the description. Here's the dam for that pond. I am going to make sort of a spillway to push the water out on that flat and then dump into another pond. Catch pond number 3. There wasn't as much gravel in this gravel bar, but the hole I left behind will still catch a lot of water. I tried to make the backside of these dams nice and mellow so that the water can run over without eroding. Fort Hays limestone. As you can probably tell, building ponds up here is not going to hold water for very long. But that's not the idea. The idea is to soak all this water into the ground table up here, and I hope it shows up down below in the clay layer. And here's the catch dam for the cliff pond. I've been working on this for the last few days. I do want to make a spillway right there, push that water out onto the flats. There's 2 more ponds in this pasture, the bull pasture. One right by the windmill and another one I'm working on. These are all in the limestone layer. Then down at the ranch headquarters in the garden, I've got 5 ponds in the clay. They hold water much better, and I hope that these ponds feed them underground in the water battery. Let's walk back upstream to the loader. We'll work on these 2 spillways a little bit, then we'll drive back downstream to the garden. When we get back to the garden today, we'll continue talking about permaculture principle number 2, catching and storing energy. We'll show you how we store water energy at the garden and put it to use. Fractured limestone, sandstone beneath, but under all that is a nice clay. Back in the loader, I dug out and dumped 8 loads of dirty gravel on top of the check dam. Now I'm packing it, smoothing it, and making a bit of a spillway. Here's a bird's eye view. Pond, catch dam, and a little spillway. I'm gonna go do the same procedure at that cliff pond, then we'll meet up at the garden. So there's the one I'm gonna call the cliff pond. I put about 30 more minutes of work on it today. I need to do some more. I'd like to get it about 3 feet taller, but it's got to pack. Probably let it pack this year and then work on it again next year. This will be a project I can work on for the rest of my life. Open to backwater, all up against this cliff. I think that'd be cool. Here's pond number 5. That's a limestone boulder that got washed off that cliff. Water power. Here's the size of that boulder, and there's an old hand-dug shallow well. The old timers hand-dug this well, and they lined it with rocks. It's about 15 feet deep. Usually it'd be dry by now, but we did get a lot of winter moisture, and I think these ponds are helping out. Hand-dug a long time ago by 2 men with rock bars. I'll bet that was an exciting experience when they got to the bottom and saw water trickling through the walls. Now we've dropped an elevation below the limestone and the sandstone. We're in the clay layer. We got some ponds down here that hold water. We'll walk down to the garden and check out the ponds along the way. Nice little pond. I'm sure this guy appreciates the ponds. Little garter snake. I think everybody out here likes these ponds. Hopefully we get a recharge here soon. Number 9. Drying up. And there's the windmill garden. Here's a nice view of the garden and the garden pond when it was full. Behind the dam, what I call the spring, still flowing. Groundwater. Water's looking pretty nasty, but that's groundwater. Deep enough down here to tap into it. Still got a little flow. So that's the water battery, the underground water storage system I'm trying to create here. And here's another way to harvest energy. Wind power to pump water. This shallow well taps into the groundwater system. And this old mill pumps water uphill to a storage tank that irrigates my garden. Permaculture principle number 2. Catching and storing energy. Water and wind working together. I do have one final way I'm catching and storing energy here at the windmill garden. And that's electrical energy through solar. This small solar charger electrifies the top of my garden fence, keeps out raccoons. I made a video of that last year. It's in the description. I'm also using this solar charger for a fence around the garden to protect the trees from cattle. Solar power is an energy source I'd like to tap into way more. I need to learn more about it. If you are interested in learning more about this off-grid garden and irrigation system, check out this video right here. And that's going to wrap this video up. Permaculture design principle number 2, catch and store energy. I hope to go through all 12. Another windy day out here. I'll see you next time at the windmill garden.